So you guys are basically considered Ozark royalty, right? I mean, you guys are well known. How did we get to this point? How did you guys get into this, performance, pontoons, all that? Where did it start?
This goes back a few years, I guess. We started about 47 years ago, building just basically a mom and pop granddad's boat, and which was common for the day. All of a sudden, the Lake of the Ozarks became a market for the go-fast guys. Why can't a pontoon do this? We came up with some ideas about lifting strakes, which we call racer fins at a later time. And then in the shootout was going on. That was the big event for Lake of the Ozarks back in the day. They called it Shooters 21 shootout. And I said, well, I think I'm going to run a pontoon in there. And what did you say?
I said, are you kidding?
I remember once they were asking, I go to all the shootout meetings, and Ron Dugan goes, well, they're wanting to do the drags. There's always an exhibition of it. 2 boats going at once. It's usually a 1-boat run with a radar gun. But then for entertainment and excitement, they started to do some running some big boats, and they run big boats with airplanes. But what they decided to do is Ron Dugan brought that up in the meeting. They're wanting to race these pontoons. Is that a good idea? And I stood up at the meeting and I go, well, I've been watching them since the old shooters, and the new shooters, and it's a very good idea, because after they make their run, which takes another 40 seconds later, because they're not doing 200 miles an hour, is that all the horns of all the thousands and tens of thousands of boats all would honk.
Actually, when he drove up, they said, hey, you got to get out of here. You know, when you pull your boat up, you have to get out of here. He said, I'm gonna run. He said, what with? And I'm going, oh, so embarrassed. He said, I'm running this.
They said a pontoon?
A pontoon?
So here I go. I had a little 350 Mercury with the through-hull exhaust, and it made a rumbling sound. And when you started it up, everybody just was looking for the great big go-fast boats and that type stuff. And all of a sudden, they realized it was a pontoon boat that was sounding like that. They couldn't believe it. I ran 46 miles an hour that day in the shootout, and that was in 1994. I guess that was the event that changed the pontoon industry.
And I said, Ron, you know, people love it. Even though it takes 40 seconds longer to run, people love it. So then that year they decided to let them go ahead and do a drag boat. And then I think Carolyn Dorris beat Jim Dorris racing the boat. That was her thrill of life.
That's pretty amazing. When I started running a boat, you know, it was a big deal for a woman to drive a boat. And then I've met, since I'm retired, I started going to the Y, and I've met people. So they say, you're the one that runs. It's like I think they're expecting some young chickie do, you know? Right?
Yep. We developed the boats for this lake because this lake can tear up an anvil, and it's amazing how many boats that have problems down here, and we just don't have it with PlayCraft.
They've put pontoon boats on the map here. This lake now is full of nothing but twin-engine pontoons. They're everywhere. Every brand out there has one. Jim was the original. Jim was the first one to jump in there and say, we're going to do something totally different. There was a lot of people that snickered and laughed and thought, you know, he was crazy, but he was it. And he's never let anybody discourage him from doing something just the next level.
Jim and Carolyn, they're the best people ever. But not only them, their family and staff are so cooperative and friendly, and they love the shootout, and it's really a big family that I'm glad to know, and good friends of mine.
It's a great company to deal with, and like I said, they're family to me. You know, Jim and Carolyn are almost like a second mom and dad. Yep, great people.
You've got to have the knowledge to go along with producing the type of boats that we're doing, and we have that knowledge. We just got to continually develop it on a daily basis.